Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be filming an assumptions video. I've seen these go around on the internet for like 2 years now, finally jumping on the trend. I had asked on my Instagram stories ages ago for your assumptions from me. I'm only getting around to filming it now. So I went back through my archive on Instagram and I found all the questions, so I'm going to go through them now. So I hope you enjoy the video. I hope that you find this interesting and I hope that it makes you know me a little bit better. I know I've had a lot of new subscribers join me this year, so hopefully this will let you get to know me a little bit more. Okay, the first one, you spend a fortune. Yes and no. I can understand how you would think that I spend a fortune looking at all of my hauls and looking at all my beauty hauls and stuff like that. I definitely can understand why you think I'd spend a fortune. I don't think that I do. Well, I do and I don't. I feel like I have certain months where I allow myself to really splurge and to really treat myself, and then I have months where like I wouldn't spend anything really on myself. So I feel like I don't feel like I spend that much. I have friends who spend way more than I do on like materialistic things. I suppose like for me, I just make sure that I always obviously have my rent and my bills paid, and I always have a little bit that goes into savings, and once they're done and I have kind of enough to like last me the month for like my food and like fuel and everything like that, once they're taken care of, I'm like, okay, the rest of it is for me. It's for whatever I want to spend it on. So whether that's skincare, whether it's clothes, where it's going out, whatever it is, that's my money to do what I want with. And I suppose I'm not afraid to spend money on materialistic things because I do get a lot of joy from them. I have been known to go in and spend a couple of €100 on pennies regularly enough. And with Shein as well, I just feel like if you're gonna go and buy a few things, you might as well go all out. But yeah, I do spend a fortune sometimes, but I will always have everything that I need to pay for. I'll have that paid for like literally the exact day I get paid, and then after that I have my little bit that goes into savings. I always have a little bit of a buffer, and then whatever's left, I have no problem spending it. Okay, the next one is you found no oh my god, I can't read. You found no buy year harder than expected. Yes and no. I found the first month or two quite difficult. Then I didn't find it difficult for ages, and then towards the end I found it really difficult, just because I was running out of things and I was kind of really just bored of the makeup that I had, and there was lots of new releases that I really just wanted to try. So I found it very difficult at the very beginning and the very end, but the middle like 6 months, 6 to 8 months was fine. The next one is you're very kind-hearted. That's so lovely. Thank you so much that you assume that about me. I hope so. I feel like I'm not qualified to verify that. I hope that that is who I am. I feel like I am very kind to people. I feel like I'm a very thoughtful person. I'm a very loyal friend, and I do feel like I am very good to people. But yeah, I suppose I am. I feel like I'm very like vain saying that, but yeah, I think I am. Thank you for assuming that about me. You would love to get married as soon as possible. This one had me thinking, like, yes and no. This is my friends who wrote this in. And I feel like if you had asked me like 3 years ago, I would have been like, absolutely, like I cannot wait to get married. I could tell you exactly how my day would go, and I know so many details for the wedding and everything. But I think as I've gotten older, and over the last maybe like 1.5 to 2 years, I don't know, and I don't know whether it's because of lockdown and I'm not comfortable with like crowds of people and stuff like that. I don't know, but I'm excited to be married for sure, and to like have a marriage, but in terms of having a wedding, I don't look forward to that as much as I used to. So I'm kind of okay with like the way that I've kind of like planned, the way that like myself and James have kind of planned out our next however many years. Our kind of like plan would be to get a house, then get married, and then have kids hopefully. So for me, I kind of can't see the marriage thing without the house being first, and we obviously don't have a house. And because of that, like I'm kind of happy that I have like probably a couple of years before that's anyway kind of a reality. So I do really want to get married for the marriage aspect of it, but I'm not like, the older I get and probably the closer to marriage I get, the more I'm like, we'll just elope. well, just elope. I don't really want a big wedding with loads of people looking at me. So yeah, yes and no. The next one is you'd love to be a mua. I definitely wanted to be a makeup artist when I was younger. Like when I was in college, I definitely thought I was gonna finish out my degree and then go back to college and retrain as a makeup artist, just because I do love makeup so much. And I love doing like my friends' makeup and stuff like that. And I really admire the beauty and makeup industry. But I have a lot of friends that are makeup artists and they have me sworn off of it, to be honest with you. So no, I wouldn't like to be a makeup artist anymore. I'm very happy to do my friends' makeup and my mom's makeup and my family's makeup as a kind of like fun thing to do, and I still love makeup. That hasn't changed, but I've just heard the craziest of stories, and it's a very like manual job, and you know, you're standing up all day and like your back will be killing you by the end of your shift, and like you either have kind of two sides of it where you work either in a retail store where you're basically doing people's makeup but also having to sell a certain amount of products and like force product on people, or you go freelance and have your own client base, in which case you work for yourself, and there's, you know, you have to, you know, set up your own pension and do like, and be self-employed, and you know, it's a lot more difficult than just, you know, I think it sounds like a very like nice job, but actually it's a very, very tough job to do, I feel. And you're facing the public. I feel like any job where you're facing the public is just very difficult. And honestly, like this story some of my friends have told me, just no. Very happy in my office job. The next one is you worry a lot. I do and I don't. I feel like I am like a worrier by like nature, and I do overthink things a lot, but I feel like I've gotten a lot better at that over the last year. I feel like it's probably just because I'm getting older and I'm like maturing. I feel like I don't worry about the small stuff so much anymore, but I definitely, like, I am an overthinker by nature, so I do worry about a lot of things, but I'm getting a way better at dealing with that and not letting worrying about things develop into anxiety, which is what was happening to me a lot when I was younger, especially through college, and I suppose like the year after I graduated and stuff like that. I worried about everything all the time and I was always having panic attacks, and it was just not a fun time. So I've kind of learned to deal with a lot of that now, and I've learned to deal with a lot of my triggers for anxiety, so I don't worry as much anymore because I've changed my mindset. And if that's something that you want me to kind of go into in more detail in a different video, I feel like that would require a whole different video, like its own video in itself. So if you want me to go through those kind of things, I definitely can, and kind of how I changed my mindset, I definitely can. But I do worry a lot, but not as much as I used to. So I definitely, and I feel like as time goes on, I'm worrying less and less. So yeah, it's probably just getting older though. The next one is you're very decisive and know what you want. No, I'm not decisive at all. I can never ever decide what I'm gonna have for dinner or what we're gonna watch on Netflix. I'm not very decisive when it comes to those kind of things at all. I feel like I'm very decisive with like big things though. Like I kind of know what I want in terms of, I kind of feel like I'm decisive in terms of like if I want to get a new car, I'll just go and, you know, I'll do everything I need to do in order to get a new car, and I'll just make a decision. I don't kind of worry about, I wouldn't like focus so much on like what colors I was going to get or anything like that. Like I just make a decision. I'm like, okay, that's done. So I am decisive in some parts of my life, but in other parts I'm absolutely useless. The next one is you're an introvert but loves a good sesh. Yes, I suppose. I feel like I am a little bit introverted, a little bit extroverted. I feel like I'm definitely way more introverted. I do love to go out and have a good night out and spend time with my friends, and I do like going and doing things, but I do get most of my energy from like being on my own. I'm not necessarily someone who needs company around me all the time at all. I'm definitely someone who gets energy from myself, if that makes sense. Like if I go like on a night out, I'm like socially exhausted for like a week afterwards. Whereas if I was here in the house on my own, I got energy from myself. So that was, it's easier for me, I suppose, to be on my own sometimes. Like I found lockdown, aside from like missing people and just every now and then wanting to go out, I found lockdown quite easy, whereas I know some of my friends who were super extroverted really struggled with just being at home on their own. Whereas for me, I was like, oh great, I can, you know, do all of my jigsaws and catch up on all my YouTube videos. Like, you know, like I have no problem with staying in at all. So yeah, like I'd be very happy if my month was like 3 weekends in and 1 weekend out, you know. That would kind of be the divide. So I do love a good set. I will say I do love a good set, but I'm both. But more so the introverted side. The next one is you have your shit together. I don't know what makes this person think that I have my shit together. Thank you. I absolutely don't have my shit together. I feel like there are days when I have my shit together, and then there are other days where I'm like, how have I kept myself alive for this many years? I don't know. I feel like sometimes I have my shit together and sometimes I don't. I wouldn't say I have my shit together in like life. I feel like I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I feel like, and it's something maybe that has been said to me a couple of times actually recently enough, is that I seem a lot more settled in myself and I seem a lot more happier. I've gotten that from a few followers who followed me since the very beginning, and also a couple of my friends have said it as well. I basically, like last summer, I had like an existential crisis where I was like, oh my god, what am I doing with my life? Like what's going on? Like who do I want to be? What do I want to work as? Where do I want to live? Like, do you know, I just literally had like a quarter life crisis. And I feel like since then, and since I like went through that process, I definitely feel like I know I'm like focused on goals for the next like 5 years or so. And I feel very focused on what I want in life now, and I do feel a bit more settled. So I suppose in terms of the big picture, yeah, I probably do have my shit together, but on a day-to-day basis, absolutely not. I can barely manage to keep my social media like hobby going, along with working and along with like I don't even have a social life because of lockdown. So like I have no excuse in that front. So no, I just feel like sometimes, I suppose I am probably getting a little bit better at prioritizing, but overall, absolutely not. Don't have my shit together. I don't think anybody does, realistically. Like you can have your shit together for a week, but then the next week might be an absolute disaster. So yeah, I absolutely don't all the time. Sometimes, not all the time. The next one is you'd really love to be an influencer as your full-time job. No, I don't think so. I would love to be a YouTuber. I suppose that probably is an influencer, but I'd love to be a YouTuber because I really like making YouTube videos. I like editing videos. I like the whole process of it. And I really just enjoy YouTube as a hobby. I do enjoy Instagram as well, but I feel like Instagram is just a way more like hectic and heavy. And I feel like if you were just an Instagrammer, I feel like it would probably be a bit more difficult to bring in an income because you're not earning it from YouTube. And I know that the YouTube money isn't what it was like early days of YouTube. Like there was obviously a lot more money back then, but I do definitely think that like with YouTube, at least you're earning money from, like if you were at the point where you could be a full-time YouTuber, you would be earning enough to keep yourself going without having to do any brand deals, without having to do any like collaborations and stuff like that. So I feel like you would always have that to kind of fall back on, whereas I feel like if it's just Instagram, because there's no monetization on that as of yet, I think you'd always have to be constantly working with brands and stuff like that, and I don't know if I'd be cut out for that, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not a very like as I said earlier, I'm not like a very extroverted person, so I'm never really one to put myself forward for certain things or to reach out and ask for an opportunity. So I don't think that line of work would suit me just in terms of financially. If it was purely just make content, absolutely 100%. But I also think that like I do this as a hobby, so there's no real pressure on me to do anything in terms of like schedules or in terms of like sharing certain things about my life. And I have a very small audience here and on Instagram, so I don't get asked that many like invasive questions or anything like that. I feel like the audience that I have is a really good audience. So, and what I mean by that is like people aren't very invasive. They don't ask me like rude questions. They don't, you know, I don't touch wood, I don't get like hate comments and stuff like that. I think it's a whole other situation doing it as a hobby than what it is being an influencer. So no, I wouldn't want to be an influencer, but I would love to be able to like have like a side income from YouTube, that maybe eventually I could go like part-time in my current job. That would be really cool. I'd love that. And the very last one then is, you want to have a baby soon? No, absolutely not. Well, yes and no. Kind of. I feel like I'm just not. I feel like if you asked me this a couple of years ago, I'd be like, oh my god, the second I could afford it, I definitely have kids. But now that I could afford to have kids, I'm like, no. I absolutely can't wait to have kids. I'm very excited to have kids and to hopefully be fortunate enough to have them. But it's definitely something that I don't want to happen for 3-4 years at the very earliest. Like I can't raise myself, let alone another kid right now. Like I still feel like I'm a baby myself. So as cute as all the babies on TikTok are and all the cute videos are and as broody as I can get, in reality, no, I don't want kids right now. But I would like them in the nearish future, but not too near. I would say like 3 or 4 years, I think I'd be like mentally ready for it. If you ever are mentally ready for it. That is all of the assumptions that you've had from me this time. So if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and I might do it again in the future. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you very, very soon in my next video. Bye guys.